So how fast can I make a Coleman RSV on a $100 budget? So in the first video in the series, I spent $28.99 of the budget and the bike almost went 50 miles an hour and dropped a second and a quarter from 0 to 30. Oh yeah, it's a lot quicker. So we gained some top speed too. We're getting close to 50 now. Yeah, it definitely made a big difference. So this time around, I'm gonna spend another $24.99 of the budget and add this 14cc chambered cylinder head. And then I'm gonna use my burr here to clean up the ports a little bit. And then hopefully we can beat 48.85 miles per hour and 6.14 0 to 30 using the stock carb and the stock exhaust. So while I have the cylinder head off, I might as well smooth out everything in those ports. So you can see the rough edges all along there. And then with this casting up here on that port floor, it has a really rough edge right there. I don't know if you can see it right there, but it has a serious edge. So I think if I smooth that out, it'll definitely help it out a lot. Make sure I get in here without hitting that seat. So I think that'll help it out. It'll flow a lot nicer, a lot better. And the same on the exhaust side. Another thing I noticed on this cheap casting, if you hold a light inside the port, oh man, we're getting some serious rain. Anyway, another thing I've noticed on this cheap casting, if you hold a light in the port with the valve sitting on the seat, you can see light between the seat and the valve. So you definitely should lap these valves in on one of these cheap heads before you install the head. Yeah, so when I throw a flashlight in the port here, I can see light coming up to the seat right here. So it's definitely a good idea to lap these valves in on those valve seats. Another way I smooth this port out so everything is nice and smooth, or transitions real nice without any lip, is I use these sanding bits. Throw some valve grinding compound on here and lap these in. So now I don't see light coming through the seat there, and I got the ports cleaned up just a little bit. Got all the rough edges off. So I think it's a good idea just to spend a few minutes on this head just to kind of seal everything up and get rid of the rough edges. So now I'll pop the 22-pound valve springs on here that came with that flywheel in the last video. Another nice thing about this head, it has shaft mounted rockers. I mean, they're only 1-to-1 ratio, so I'm not going to get any more lift. So I'll pull this stock head off this RSV. Funny, this bike never had the shield on this exhaust. So being a total sleeper build and using the stock carb and exhaust, I'm wondering how much difference the 14cc chamber head will make. Because on the B200, I used the slide carb and a header pipe. But this one here is going to totally be stock looking on the outside. Now I have a bored out version of this carb from ARC, but the thing is, I can't use it. It'll break my budget. So with all this stock stuff, as far as flowing better, I'm not sure with the 14cc chamber head, but the compression, I'm sure will make a difference. But who knows? We'll find out. Hopefully, with these mods here, we can break 50. I'm sure it'll be quicker. I'm just not sure about top speed. Use the same push rods. One thing about it, these head swaps are pretty easy, pretty straightforward. So even if it doesn't gain anything, at least it didn't take too much time. So there is one bracket that I'm gonna have to figure out on here, is this here, the 14cc chamber head doesn't have the hole to hold this bracket. And that bracket is to hold the torque converter cover on. So I'll have to figure out something on that. Yeah, the two heads side by side. This one here has the bracket, the 196 head, and then the 14cc doesn't have one right here. So you have the 14cc chamber, and then the bigger chamber on the 196, and the valves are the same size. What's cool about these Coleman bikes is they already have the shim gasket, the 10,000ths head gasket. Clean off these surfaces here. Head gasket, 14cc head. Throw some oil on these head bolts so I get a decent torque reading. Torque these down to 204. The stock 196 push rods. Then the shaft rockers. I mean, maybe they will add a little bit more lift to the cam with the zero flex compared to your stamped rockers that are normally on here. So I'll set this valve lash at 3 on both of these. Throw these studs on here. The gasket. Carbonator. Another gasket. I'll throw a spark plug in here while I'm at it. The throttle plate. And then the air box. So this thing is a total sleeper on this slide. Looks totally stock. So everything else bolted up. Well, I do have to add some exhaust studs off the other head. But other than that, everything bolted up except for this one bracket here that normally bolted to the head right here. So I'm going to have to bolt it to this valve cover. So I think I'll take this aluminum here and make me a small L bracket. So I got my bracket made, and it should fit on there something like this. I think that'll work. And I'll bolt it right here to the valve cover, and if it does leak, which I doubt it will because it didn't on the B200, I can put a small stud in there and then put a nut on it. Oh, that looks pretty nice on there. You can't even tell the difference. So that'll work. And especially with the exhaust on there, you'll never even know it because this thing has to look totally stock. So the exhaust on these bikes is super restrictive, as we know. So with this head that's slightly ported, it might benefit from using my Predator 224 exhaust. Because if you look at the pipe on the stock Coleman exhaust, it's slightly smaller than the Predator 224 stock exhaust. The pipe's a little bit bigger on there. And it looks exactly like the Coleman exhaust on the outside. So I think it'll benefit from the Predator 224 exhaust. So I think I'll just throw that on there. I mean, of course, it's not going to have the scavenging effect of a long header pipe, but it'll definitely flow better with the bigger pipe. So I think that'll be a perfect exhaust for the sleeper bike. All right, I'll see if this thing will fire up, and then I'll see if I can beat up on 48.85 and 6.14 0 to 30. I think I'll beat the 0 to 30 times, but I'm not sure about the top speed. And again, just like in the last video, I'm going to use my Draggy performance meter to measure the times so we get really accurate times. Let's see if we can fire this thing up. It has a little bit of sound to it with the Predator 224 exhaust. Coleman 196 with a 14cc chamber head, 0 to 30. We'll see if we can beat 6.14. Oh yeah, that's a lot quicker. First 0 to 30, and we did it in 5.57. I made a big difference. Let me see if I can back that up. Now I wonder if it'll translate it into a better top speed. So it's about, what, a little more than half a second quicker. But that's still a big gain. I mean, it's a lot quicker on the bike, for sure. Second attempt 0 to 30. 14cc chamber head on the 196. All right, there's 30. 5.63, so it's pretty consistent. So we definitely knocked off, what, at least a half a second or so. I mean, that's a lot quicker. I don't know if that'll translate into any top speed, but even if it doesn't, that's okay because it has more torque now, so I can put a higher gear on it and we'll gain some more top speed, but we'll see. So anyway, I got to beat 48.85 top speed. Yeah, it definitely has a lot more mid-range torque. And I gotta turn down this idle. But anyway, let's see if we can beat 48.85 on the way back down. So we didn't quite break 50, but the bike definitely got a lot quicker. So last time around we did 6.14 0 to 30 and 48.85 top speed. Then I added the 14cc chamber head and we dropped quite a bit from 0 to 30, 5.57. And then similar top speeds, 48.98. So it definitely has a lot more mid-range torque, a lot more pull. So I think next time around, in the next video, I have a way for the bike to break 50 miles an hour without breaking the budget and with using the stock exhaust and the stock carb. Maybe.